to show that I think it is not just reflected in what they're doing, how they are reacting to this session, or how they've reacted to the Ambedkar thing. I think there is a genuine nervousness. Neelu, let me also remind you that during the run-up to the general elections, in the election campaign, actually, if you look back carefully, Rahul Gandhi had already brought in Ambedkar and the Constitution into the public discourse in a very big way. In fact, in all his rallies, he used to carry a copy of the Constitution, take it out of his pocket and hold it up and say, this is what we are defending, this is what we are fighting for. And you know, he has been criticized, in fact, for doing the same in the Maharashtra elections, saying that when he should have been taking up local issues, he was taking up national issues. And he doesn't know the difference between national and local issues. But the fact of the matter is, he has been consistent in raising the issue of the Constitution. When he talks of Constitution, he always brings in Ambedkar. And he is somebody who has been trying to bring Mahatma Gandhi back into the national discourse. You see, the thing is that if there hadn't been such a deep impact of Mahatma Gandhi and the Congress movement in our society, we would not have lasted as a democracy for so many years. This is what I find very sad about when I look at the national politics, when I look at what's happened in the parliament in this last session. We have brought down the level of public discourse. We have brought down the level of behavior in the parliament to a point which can only be bad for us as a people. The difference between BJP and others now is that it's very ideologically committed. I don't say that today. I think it's become a party of power. I think today power has become primary for them and not the ideology. And they are willing to give up the ideology also very often for the sake of power. That has become primary.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Congress is holding a two-day extended session of its highest decision-making body, that is the CWC, the Congress Working Committee, alongside a rally in Belagavi, Karnataka, to mark the 100th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's presidency at the party's historic Belagavi session in 1924. At this function, you will find all the important leaders of Congress, including Mallikarjun Kharge, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, members of the CWC, chief ministers, state unit presidents, and it's a big, big event. Now, what has happened? BJP has got unnerved. BJP is getting insecure about how Congress is trying to revive the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi. So what did they do? Yesterday, Amit Shah called in a meeting of the NDA leaders, and he said that we need to remain united to counter the Ambedkar row, which has been engineered by Congress. And this morning, BJP generated another controversy, which was just completely needless. And we found BJP leaders lashing out at the Congress for installing banners with a distorted map of India, where they said that Karnataka Congress hasn't taken care, but they have put out a map which shows Jammu Kashmir is part of Pakistan. And then BJP leaders went on to say that this has been done for vote bank politics, and it is the evidence of Congress's links to powers that are trying to break India. So is BJP unnerved with this Belagavi session of the Congress? And is this a turning point as far as the politics of Congress is concerned post 2024? Joining me now this evening, a very important person, renowned author, historian, columnist, Mridula Mukherjee this evening with us. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining on HW News. And my first question to you, Mridula, ma'am, is that the Belagavi session, which has just begun, there are a couple of resolutions which will be passed. But BJP, it seems, has got unnerved. It has got jittery. it seems it's manufacturing controversies to, take away the limelight from the main event, which is of course so significant. So why do you think the BJP is doing this, and what is BJP's gain out of it?
Well, I think, Neelu, it's very clear that ever since the results for the general elections came out in June, then, and it was clear that the BJP had lost ground. Its seats came down to about 240 or so. I think since then they have been quite nervous. They didn't expect that reverse, and they've been on the back foot. In fact, as I recall, till a little while ago, till the Haryana election, results, and then the Maharashtra election results, which have gone in their favor through whatever mechanisms that has happened, we are yet to be, very clear, because there's been a lot of protests and speculation about misuse of power and authority to achieve results. So whatever be the thing, I think till then they were clearly on the back foot. You could see that in the body language of their big leaders. You could see it in every possible way. Since then, they've tried to regain ground. They've again adopted a more aggressive tone. And I think in the parliament session this time, the one which we had just now, they wanted to demonstrate that, that they were back on top again. So there was I think, unnecessary, in my opinion, aggression in the manner in which they went about the business in the parliament. I think if you recall the speeches made by the BJP leaders, including the Prime Minister himself, I think they were excessively personalized, excessively combative, in not becoming of what should have happened in a debate on the Constitution. And I think that made it clear. And then basically stopping the parliament from functioning in various kinds of ways, as we saw. Not allowing any discussion on Adani, Ambani, anything like that. On everything there was so much so that the opposition felt pressurized enough to bring in a vote of no confidence against the presiding officer of the upper house. Now, there had to be an aggression in the manner in which the vice president was behaving for the opposition to feel cornered enough to do that. I'm trying to set the stage to show that I think it is not just reflected in what they're doing, how they are reacting to this session, or how they've reacted to the Ambedkar thing. I think there is a genuine nervousness. On the one hand, there is the whole thing of 100 years of RSS, right? To celebrate centenary of the RSS, where they want to show success. In fact, what has happened is that the popularity has declined in this year, And as you can see also with many of the controversies which have been picking up on the ground, there's a desperation, like the Sambal controversy, like the Ajmer Dargah controversy, which is being raked up. I think that shows a certain desperation in wanting to rely on what they feel is the tried and tested method of their politics, which is polarization along communal lines. So much so that even the RSS chief has felt constrained to come out in public and say twice that we should not be going looking for temples under every mosque. And in the last 2 days, I'm shocked to see that some of the religious leaders are being obviously put up encouraged to criticize Mohan Bhagwat himself, and in a language which is very unbecoming, which says you are not a thekedar of the Hindus. For somebody to get up and say, you can criticize the RSS. We also criticize the RSS, But the language, you're not a thekedar of the Hindus. We are speaking for the Hindus. Then who is we? So who's pitting against whom? We also know that during the general elections, RSS and BJP were at loggerheads. There's a whole lot of undercurrents going on. It's not a simple picture.
No, but ma'am, do you also see this Belagavi session as, something where Congress is trying to, of course, revive the legacy, but we also saw how BJP was trying to appropriate Mahatma Gandhi. BJP tried to, distort facts on Ambedkar, and they were trying to distort Ambedkar as well. And now suddenly, immediately after this Ambedkar Rao in Parliament, we see Congress appropriating both Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhi, and they've come up with a slogan, Jai Bhim, Jai Samvidhan, Jai Bapu, which is a powerful slogan, and BJP doesn't know how to counter that. So do you see this as some kind of a turning point for Congress post 2024 elections?
Neelu, let me also remind you that during the run-up to the general elections, in the election campaign, actually, if you look back carefully, Rahul Gandhi had already brought in Ambedkar and the Constitution into the public discourse in a very big way. In fact, in all his rallies, he used to carry a copy of the Constitution, take it out of his pocket and hold it up and say, this is what we are defending. This is what we are fighting for. And he has been criticized, in fact, for doing the same in the Maharashtra elections, saying that when he should have been taking up local issues, he was taking up national issues. And he doesn't know the difference between national and local issues. But the fact of the matter is he has been consistent in raising the issue of the Constitution. When he talks of Constitution, he always brings in Ambedkar. And he is somebody who has been trying to bring Mahatma Gandhi back into the national discourse. So while this is happening in a big way now, I would say if you look carefully at Rahul Gandhi's politics over the past few months, he clearly has been, and certainly in Bharat Jodo Yatra, Gandhi was very prominent in his whole articulation was Gandhian. The walk is Gandhian. We all know Dandi March. So the Bharat Jodo Yatra, him walking across, is a Gandhian act. And the language which he used of love, of harmony, hum nafrat ke bazaar mein mohabbat ki dukaan kholenge, that is Gandhian language. Gandhiji was always using the language of love and harmony.
Do we see this Belagavi session then as an extension of how Bharat Jodo Yatra was planned? That, of course, was one leg of it, how Congress is planning to go further as far as its politics is concerned. And this could be the second phase, or maybe the second turning point, if I may call it, of Congress. Would you see it that way?
I hope so. What I think has also unnerved the BJP is that they, as you know, not only they, but others also keep criticizing the Congress that how after the elections, they are not active anymore. They're not taking up issues. They're not seen on the streets, But obviously what is happening with this is that this is not being done for any electoral purpose. There are no elections around the corner. So you can't say that now they are preparing for the next elections. So this is a non-electoral, occupying the non-electoral political terrain, which is very important. Now, that terrain is the one in which you have protest, you have movements, you have mobilization, which is not connected directly to just winning an election. And I think, the BJP has always been strong on that ground. They do politics 24/7 into 12. Round the year, through the week, all through the day and night. They don't ever stop doing politics. When elections are not around, they're doing the shakhas, they're doing other things, they're doing their social media campaigns, they're raising this, that, and the other. I think they're also getting nervous because they see Congress trying to, occupy that space, which they are not used to. Okay, they would have thought that after the parliament session is over now, in a sense, the Congress will go back into hibernation. till the next round of elections, maybe Delhi elections, then they'll get a. But if you notice the change in Delhi also, there is an attempt to change. Congress is the first party which has announced candidates. When did you last see the Congress doing that? In fact, used to always say, where are the Congress candidates? They've not come yet. They're not this time. So if you see these little clues, if you put them all together, there seems to be some change in the way the Congress wants to go about its business now. I hope that's true, because I think that will mean a fundamental change in Indian politics.
Right. No, and you're right. And I'm just looking at the pictures which are coming in from this session, where they're calling it Nav Satyagrah. It's the new Satyagrah they are calling, and these are the pictures. And
Right.
sure, we'll show it full screen also, where all the leaders are sitting on the floor on a pedestal, and that old conventional style, which we have seen in the history books, how Mahatma Gandhi used to sit on a podium and all the followers sitting on the floor and just listening to him intently. Those are the kind of pictures which are coming from Belagavi. And this is really something, there's an element of sublimity about it. There's an element of fond remembrance of the yesteryears, which Congress has tried to play out in this Belagavi session. So what does it really mean also for the future generations? Of course, a lot of history has been blighted out of the history books, but and a lot of chapters, and I've interviewed you earlier also, that chapters from Freedom Struggle have been erased. But when Congress brings back those memories alive in this manner, these are the visuals where Congress is seen sitting, calling it a Nav Satyagrah. What would you really say to an event like this, and the kind of ambience which they have created at Belagavi?
Yes. No, that's why I think there is very clearly an attempt to link up with that legacy, and rightly so. It is their legacy, and they have every right to link up with it. And I wanted to just, when you said history is being erased from the history textbooks and this and that and the other, but as I was saying to you earlier in another program, that truth has a way of coming back, and lies only have a short life, and then they disappear. And you see, the thing is that if there hadn't been such a deep impact of Mahatma Gandhi and the Congress movement in our society, we would not have lasted as a democracy for so many years. There is something deep which has gone deep into the psyche of the Indian people. And I want to give you a small example. I was so, what shall I say? It was such a heartwarming thing to read a story this morning in the Indian Express, where a reporter has gone and talked to people in a village some 25 miles from Belagavi. And it's a village which Gandhiji visited in 1937 and stayed for a week. It's the village of Deshpande, who was the big leader of that area. And it says that in that village, out of 500 houses, 200 houses still produce khadi without any machines. And there is a weaving shed, a weaving factory, where they produce cloth, again without any machines, modern machines or electricity. And that village, the people he talked to, they said, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we have scheduled castes over here. We live in complete harmony. We've never had any violence. Within our village, nobody asks, what is your religion or caste? When we go out, people ask us, are you a Hindu? Are you a Muslim? Which caste are you? And these are questions which are foreign to us. It was so heartwarming to see that, almost 90 years later, the impact of one visit by the Mahatma in that village is alive today. Those people are still living those ideals without anybody telling them to do so. There is nothing over there. There's no leader. There is no organization which is organizing them. But it's just so. Why am I telling you this story? Because positive things in society, when they go deep, they don't die out that fast. You can throw a chapter out of a book, but will you take Gandhi out of everybody's mind, everybody's lives? People would have heard stories from their fathers, grandfathers, mothers, grandmothers. It's not as if the whole country has been sold And
I'm also thinking of a situation, ma'am, that the occasion is so somber, so sublime, and BJP also could have easily joined. After all, it's about Mahatma and
yeah, yeah.
100 years to the presidency. All right, if it's a Congress event, but maybe BJP would have risen much more in stature had they joined this event.
As you have seen, many people recently also, I was reading somewhere, talking about Atal Bihari Vajpayee, for example, that how there was a difference between the BJP as it was under him and what it is now. You could expect that kind of thing, maybe a gesture like that from an Atal Bihari Vajpayee, But to expect that kind of gesture from the current BJP is I think, perhaps asking for the moon. Because this is what I find very sad about when I look at the national politics, when I look at what's happened in the parliament in this last session. We have brought down the level of public discourse. We have brought down the level of behavior in the parliament to a point which can only be bad for us as a people. You see, ultimately today BJP is there, tomorrow it will not be there. Today Congress is also there, tomorrow Congress also may not be there. All these parties may have disappeared in another 25, 30 years or 50 years, who knows, in 10 years. But what has it done to the culture of our society, to our public culture? What is it that our children are seeing on television? How the parliamentarians are behaving? You are filing FIRs against your, Rahul Gandhi saying that he pushed people, murderous assault. Now, who will believe this? But this is the kind of level to which you have reduced your discourse. I think that is what is so sad. And I'm therefore so glad that I was telling you earlier also that somebody's trying to raise that level, take it back to a level of morality, ethics, love, harmony. After all, what do we want to live for? What is this talk of a Hindu Rashtra? The ideal of a Hindu Rashtra will be only Hindus fighting against everybody else. Trying to find temples beneath mosques and churches. As one of our famous, very prominent editors, Harish Khare, warned in a piece which he wrote in the Tribune less than 2 weeks ago. He's said to the RSS, he said, it's your 100th anniversary. Ask yourself, do you want to leave a heritage of 100-year civil war? Is that what you want to do? No. Look at the rest of the world. Look at the Middle East. Look at them fighting each other. Do we want that India to become like that? No. How many years did it take the Irish dispute to be not even settled, but some settlement, How long? When people start, a lot of violence, hatred, all this gets invested in their lives. It takes years for it to get sorted out. Legacy of our freedom struggle was that we even fought our struggle for freedom without hate and rancor. That was its beauty. The British, nobody would attack the British after independence or even during independence. British tourists could come happily to India. It was not that they were not welcome just because they were British and they had ruled over us. We didn't even ask for an apology for Jallianwala Bagh. All these things have started recently.
Look, ma'am, the way Congress is projecting this entire event, reviving the legacy of Mahatma, media also going to those villages where Mahatma had visited, areas around Belagavi. Now, how do you think Congress will change the things from here on? Of course, organizational revamp and all that is party work, they will be doing it. But if Congress has been saying that this is like a second freedom struggle, and if they are treating this as a second freedom struggle, what should be the course for Congress in the coming months or maybe in the next 5 years? according to
first
you?
and foremost, their own cadre, their own workers, and maybe the new ones that they can attract to themselves, have to be imbued with these ideals, this ideology, and a determination to sacrifice and fight. Without that, you can't go very far. Just the leadership wanting to do certain things will not make things happen. No party can function without the workers. And they have to believe in that ideal. So you have to, in many ways, what happens after a time is every party, and that's happening to the BJP today. Earlier, it used to be a highly ideological party. I used to say the difference between BJP and others now is that it's very ideologically committed. I don't say that today. I think it's become a party of power. I think today power has become primary for them and not the ideology. And they're willing to give up the ideology also very often for the sake of power. That has become primary. Now, the Congress, having been in power for so many years, inevitably a culture of, that culture becomes dominant. And that's what it has to fight against within itself, And that's why I said the cadre, their youth congress, their student cadre, the workers, they all have to be imbued with this enthusiasm and this fire that they have to bring about a change in the society. And what they are fighting for is indeed a second freedom struggle. They have to believe in it, that's why the constitution is important, I think. Because the constitution in that sense also impersonal. It's not only about a Gandhi or a Nehru or a this and a that. You need not believe in any of them, and you can believe in the constitution. Okay. So that's very important, because the constitution brought, and also let's remember, the constitution brought everybody together. No? Who passed that constitution? People of all parties sat together and passed that constitution. The conservatives in the Congress, the radicals in the Congress, the Nehruites, the Gandhians, the socialists, Hindu Mahasabha, the princely states represent, everybody was sitting in that assembly to pass that constitution. So it is something that emerged out of a consensus in India. It emerged out of the whole freedom struggle. In fact, as I like to repeat, the constitution was a distillation of the ideals and practices of the freedom struggle of India. Which is why it has lasted so long and lasted us so well. Because these were not some foreign ideas that were brought and put into a book and said, now you will be ruled by this book. In the previous 70, 80 years, the people of India had been trained to believe in those ideals. They had practiced those ideals. They had fought for those ideals. Their parents, their brothers, their sisters had sacrificed for those ideals. People had died for those ideals. People had lived their lives for those ideals. So they were living ideals, not something, imported from here, there, or the other. Language may be, legal language is picked up from here, there, or the other. But the spirit of the constitution was something that was a living spirit. And also, as it has been said again and again, it also encapsulated our entire history. Our civilizational ideals were incorporated into it. So I think the symbolism of constitution is a very powerful one. And I'm so glad that it's being forefronted by the Congress party.
Right. But what would you really say to the nervousness of BJP? BJP seems to be very, very insecure with this Belagavi session. They raked up this map controversy that the map was distorted and they put Jammu and Kashmir as part of Pakistan, then blaming Congress that this is all vote bank politics. What would you really say, and why? What is making BJP, according to you, what is making BJP very, very unnerved and disturbed and nervous about the Belagavi session?
You see, as I said earlier, let me repeat that they were on the back foot from the time of the results of the general elections. There's no doubt about it. Then they got back a bit onto the front foot. You saw the difference in their language and, the way they acted in the last couple of months. But I think this controversy in the parliament, then they couldn't have their way in the parliament this time. Mind you, let's remember the opposition was also very aggressive. If you look at the speeches that have been made by people belonging to all political parties, you remember Derek O'Brien's speech, for example. Sanjay speech. I mean, it's not just Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi who spoke in a certain manner, but the entire opposition, Abhishek Yadav, for example, Akhilesh Yadav, there was a certain resolution in what they were saying in terms of their determination to fight back. I think in the parliament, the opposition did show that they were not getting cowed down. And I think that's made the BJP nervous again. And this session, coming at the culmination of that, as you can see, they've been trying to destabilize the India bloc. We all know what goes on. I mean, recent week, sometime a statement from Mamata Banerjee, sometime a statement from so-and-so, sometime to show to the people that actually India bloc is divided. All the time, the attempt is to show that they're divided. You see, let me tell you the difference. Opposition is not spending its time showing NDA is divided. It's fighting its battle. BJP is spending its time showing that India bloc is divided. So you can see that negative campaign, this thing of the map. What is it? These are all diversionary tactics. The moment they feel that the other side is getting a voice, it's getting heard by people. See, social media, unfortunately for them, is not something that can be controlled so easily. Unfortunately, we have very fine journalists like you and many others who are fully utilizing this space of the social media to take things to people which are not being done by the mainstream media. It's not only one Ravish Kumar who's doing it. Of course, he's doing it and in a very big way. But there are so many of you, Ajit Anjum is there. I mean, I can name so many people. And they all get a lot of views. Obviously, that must be very unnerving. I saw some statistics about how many people had watched the speech of the Prime Minister and how many people had watched the speech of the other opposition leaders. And I was quite shocked. And I'm sure they're seeing the same statistics. And that mustn't be making them very happy. It's making them nervous. So the line is be aggressive. After all, you yourself mentioned the meeting of NDA, which they have called.
Yes, they called it yesterday. Yeah.
They know normally. Did they even call a meeting of NDA before the parliament session met? I don't know. But certainly they've called it now because they're feeling nervous and threatened, which is what it should be. I'm very happy that there is a pushback, that there is, the momentum of the election results, which seem to be getting frittered away and lost in between, is coming back. That's how I see it. I hope it is sustained.
Right. So tomorrow also there's a big rally in Belagavi and of course the extended session, and we'll come to know about what the resolution has been. There's supposed to be a briefing as well. So we'll try and see what has happened there. Thank you so much, ma'am. As always, a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neelu. Thank you, sir.
Stay ahead with our Cutting Edge News app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.